As the processional prepares to arrive, I would like to invite everyone to go ahead and find their seats as the honor guard prepares the service.
Honor guard, parade, wrist.
Well, good morning. On behalf of 12 Stone Church, I want to say this clearly. It's our great honor and privilege to be able to serve our community. And today we stand together in grief. We stand with a family who lost someone they deeply love. And we stand with a community that feels shaken and heavy and heartbroken. And we stand with fellow officers who've lost one of their own. And moments like this remind us that none of us ever really walks alone. And in a time of loss, your presence genuinely matters. To the family, we hope that our words can convey the deepest gratitude that we have for such a costly sacrifice. And now, although our words may fall short, we hope that our presence here today is a pillar for you to lean on. There's a scripture that says that there is no greater love than to lay down your life for another. And today we honor a man who did exactly that. Officer Tamang laid down his life for this community. He chose courage, he chose service, and he chose sacrifice. And he put himself in harm's way so that we might be living in safety. That kind of sacrifice deserves our deepest respect and honor. So today we pause, we remember, and we honor a life of service. And we surround his family and our law enforcement family with support, with gratitude, and with care. So thank you for being here, and thank you for standing together. At this time, I would like to invite our speakers to the stage, Lieutenant McClendon, Sergeant Pitts, and Police Officer Senior Melissa Sheridan.
Please take a seat. Thank you. First and foremost, I want to thank each and every one of you in this sanctuary, each and every one of you outside this sanctuary that has prayed a prayer, thought a thought, texted, called, emailed, Instagram, Dextergram, whatever that stuff's called. The messages and the love and support that's been given to us and shared since this happened. Thank you all for being here. Governor, all the way down to whatever title you hold, it doesn't matter. We sincerely thank each and every one of you. This is extremely hard. I'm Colin McClendon. I had a speech prepared. That speech is sitting out in my truck. So if I get sideways, somebody tap me back, get me back focused and all that. But just like you inside this sanctuary, just like the people outside this sanctuary, I'm a person. It's what I am first. I'm a son, a brother, a husband, a father, and so on. I think everybody understands where I'm going with that, so I'll move along. I have feelings, I have thoughts, I hurt, I smile, and all that. I have one goal today, personally and professionally. And together, you will help me accomplish my goal. I'm pretty good at it. So if I have to resort to dad jokes, whatever the case may be, I'll do it because I am driven, I'm goal-oriented, and I'm not going to fail accomplishing my goal because that's how I'm going to honor Pradeep. Now, I'm sorry if I mispronounce his name. I called him Tamang most of the time. But a lot of times I called him Wild Thing Tamang. Wild Thing Tamang. So I didn't mention what my goal was. My goal was to, if I can take away 1 second of your pain and make you smile during this very difficult time, I consider my goal accomplished. As I told you not too long ago, if there were words I could speak, I would speak them. But there are no words that can make this go away instantly. I promise you I would speak them, I would have spoken them. If there were some magical words that could be spoken, I would have said them 1,000 times or whatever's required. I would have done it. This has been extremely hard for me personally. I've been doing honors, rendering honors for those who are worthy for over 30 years. I did it in the Army. I've done it with our department ever since I was allowed to come onto the team. That was a little over 29 years ago. And I've sat in the seats that you are sitting in many times. And it's impressed me that people get up here and are able to hold themselves together. And it's like, I don't know if I could do it. I don't know if I could do it. And so far I'm doing pretty good. But understand that if I start to lose it, it's only because I love Tamang. Law enforcement community, we say we're all brothers and sisters and all that good stuff. I'm at the point in my life, my age, that Tamang was more like a son to me. He was only 4 years older than my oldest child, my daughter. So he was more like a son to me than he was like a brother. And this one, like I was saying, I've been in your seat you're sitting in, but this one hits 10 times harder than it ever has than it ever has, because of that personal, intimate relationship that I had and have with Tamang. He and I probably had our first interaction out on the track. I'm a driving instructor. He's a pretty good driver. He's a good driver. But that was where I was first exposed to his smile and the pictures and so on that you've seen displayed here and on the internet and all that. He's got that smile. Loved it. Loved it. Think it was awesome. He was a happy young man. But that smile was going to get complaints. But he had that smile like, gotcha. Whatever the case is. And even when he wasn't like in a gotcha moment, it's kind of a smirk, smile, or wherever the case may be. He loved what he was doing. He loved being a police officer. His life led up to it. He was purpose-driven. He too would do anything he could do to accomplish his goals. It's very evident by the way he was raised. Very evident. I got more time in school far more than I have. Well-spoken, educated, driven, all those things we look for in a police officer. He was driven to help each other, help people. And I think we get into law enforcement for two basic reasons. We want to help people. We want to love them. We care for them. And we want to take care of those who don't do so good at doing that. We want to serve justice. We want to serve justice. We want to put people in jail. We want to put criminals in jail. And most everybody, you're either on one side or the other of that analogy. You may enjoy one more than the other, but when we can marry it up, then that's a perfect situation. We can help those in need of help, and we can take care of those that cause the need. Tamang was one who liked catching criminals. And a young man, he liked to hunt. And he liked to hold people accountable for their actions, their poor decisions. He liked it. Now, he was a little eager. He was young. Troopers, he'd been a hell of a trooper. I'll tell you that. He would have trooped with the best of the troopers. I had to pull him back. Hopefully this gets me further along towards the goal. I saw some troopers smile, so I'm winning. I'm winning. But the young man, I just read one of his DORs. He was in my came to B rotation south under my command in the FTO program. And I look back at one of his DORs, and he did, I think it said 13 traffic stops, issued 18 tickets. Yeah, that's on FTO. That's on FTO. And it didn't change. He loves some traffic. He asked me after he got assigned to the shift if he could go to LiDAR class. Pump the brakes there, high speed. Pump the brakes. We'll get you there, but you need to learn how to police out here without the tools and all the technology that we have. Learn the laws. Learn how to enforce the laws and all that. As I always said, a good cop can do all the things that you learned in the academy. A great cop is one that knows the law, knows the policies and the procedures and all that comes along. Because if you can go out here and you can police confidently, you are in a far better place than if you're in the situation and you're wondering, oh, can I do this? Can I do that? No, because now you're wondering what you can do instead of doing what you know you can. That's why you need to be educated. He was an educated young man. But, like I said, he had been a trooper. Sorry, he came to us. So, to get to the point of that story, he worked an accident, ended up arresting the young man because he had no license, as he should have. Knew that what requirements required him to have Georgia law, OCGA 40-5-20. Requires you to have da-da-da-da-da. He knew that. Where I had to pull him back, he also wrote him a citation for no license on person. Yeah, see, all right, I'm winning here. No license on person. So I saw that and I was like, oh, okay. I believe in life that every moment is a teaching and a learning moment. I taught, he learned. I said, it's me. I get it. We push y'all, want y'all to do the right thing for the right reasons at the right time so everything is all right. But think about it. If you arrested the man for not having a driver's license, should you write him for not having it on his person? And he didn't get it right away. So I was like, to me, if you don't ever have one, it's kind of wrong to write him for not having it on his person. So, you go there. He absolutely loved being a police. He loved it. He was proud of it and all that. And him and I didn't have a whole lot of conversations about his personal life, but I knew he was excited to get married. He was excited. And honestly, I thought he may have got married over the Christmas break and all that. And when all this happened, they were asking me, what's the relationships and all that? And I think I told somebody, yeah, I think they got married over the Christmas break, and the form had not been updated, whatever the case was. But he was very excited. He saw me. He loved you. And I have no doubt about that. And he's proud of his upbringing. We had a call with a person from Nepal who was having a mental crisis at the time. And lo and behold, he was from Nepal. Who shows up? He's ready to get in the action. And he shows up, and I'm like, it's meant to be. It's meant to be. Now you can communicate with this gentleman and see what's going on. And so we can make the best determination as to what needs to happen next. And he did exactly that. Didn't hesitate to get in there and do that. Chief, I came up here, I had the mission statement, the vision printed out. I was going to read it in case I needed to have some good point here, bad point here type thing. I think I was going to be winning on that. Just right there, that was a +10. And I'm doing pretty good so far. I don't think I've crossed any lines that go to the minus, but this whole event has been extremely hard for me as a leader, because, like I said, he felt like a son. He felt like my son. Like all of you in law enforcement feel like a brother or a sister or an uncle or nephew. We'll stop there. That may be on the minus side, but, and try to raise them right, teach them, and so on. And this hits a whole nother way. And I got to think about what I was going to say, and whatever's printed out there is a mess, probably. So it may be a good thing it's not up here. But one of the things that I've taken away from this whole experience, when I was talking to somebody, maybe this experience, he's working through me and what I share up here, because it's flipped the script on how I typically handle these things. Even when our Gwinnett County Police brother, Antoine Tony, was taken, this is a whole nother level because of my intimacy with Tamang. And the day of, and I share this in hopes that you go forth and share it, and if it helps one other person, great. There is no downside to sharing this. And as a boss, a leader, a brother, a dad, a couple of majors pulled me aside. They just happened to be my brothers, my friends, pulled me aside and made me sit down with our clinician, Pedge, and have a conversation with him. We had a conversation, and in there, cried a little bit more than I normally would have. My typical thing was go home, handle it privately, move along, go in back to work the next day, suppress the feelings, suppress the anger, suppress the tears, do all that in private. I'd go out for a run, go into the woods and break sticks and throw rocks. I learned early on it wasn't worth breaking valuable stuff because you got to replace it. But that's how I would handle it prior to this intervention, or whatever you want to call this expression of love, because that's what it was. They saw that I was hurting, and they saw the need. And you can either be part of the problem, or you can be part of the solution. They're part of the solution for me personally. And hence, I want to be part of your solution if you start to encounter something like this. Pedge worked his magic. The major in there. I'm gonna say it, sorry. Negative point. Major Eric Penn, my best friend in this department. Because of his love, I opened up in there, spoke my feelings a little bit in there, and then got back to handling the situation. Bury myself at work is how I'd handle it. Went out to the car, cried a whole lot of tears. I may have been told to go home. This is one of those negative point things, sir, but I've got a memo already prepared for consideration if necessary. There's a 122 in my truck. 122 is our reported disciplinary action. So I still think I'm in the high. If I get close, I'll quit talking, period. But went out to the truck, cried for quite some time, and then I went to the hospital to see Reed. Today is about today, but Reed, incredible, absolutely incredible. I mean, absolutely incredible. He did everything he could, and the knucklehead is my kind word for him right now, is where he should be. Justice will prevail. And then after that, I went and saw Ingsama at her house, and I told her there, if there was words I could speak, I would speak them. Again, the composure people have when they're up here and going through this amazes me. She was more composed at that time than I was myself. And I started sensing that she was getting less composed, and so it was a short and brief meeting, but I thought it was very important to go in there and see her immediately. So that's what I did. It's okay. And that has got me through that whole experience of spilling your guts, whatever you want to call it, changing the way I handle things, and why I share it is why I share it with you. If it gets you through it. Had that not happened, I probably wouldn't be up here. Selfishly, when all that happened, I knew high percentage of the time the boss is going to be asked to speak, being myself or his sergeants and all that. And honestly, I hoped I was not. But I decided to at that time. If I am, I will. Because if that helps make this moment, this particular moment right now, or any involved in all this, a little bit better, to hear my words, and my words express our sincere love and gratitude for somebody, then goal accomplished, continue the mission. And I'll close with that. Tamang knew his purpose, and he lived life with purpose. He did what it took to accomplish his goals, handled the task, did each task so he would accomplish his goals. And he knew what he wanted to do. Like I said, he loved policing. Every supervisor, every manager, every leader wants that officer that you go, come on back, instead of, hey, get on out there. But it's our job as supervisors and leaders to build officers' confidence. When you graduate the academy, all you've demonstrated is that you are competent. Some of you come out more competent than others. That's all right. That's why we're here. Because we're going to work some magic on those who need to work magic on. And we're going to help you determine whether or not you can be successful. We are going to make you more confident. You are going to go out here and do what you want to do, what your dream is, help people, put perps in jail, do 1037s, traffic stops, write tickets. Hopefully a high percentage of them are proper tickets and all that. But he was driven to serve. He was driven to be the police. He loved doing it. And like I told B rotation at the medical examiner's office, after we got him there, we honor Tamang simply by continuing doing what we do to the best of our abilities. You go out there and you police to the best of your abilities. That's exactly what he would have done. He would have grieved if it were somebody else. He would have grieved just like we're grieving. But he would have shown up the next work day. I'm pretty confident of that. Now, I'm certain of it. He would have been showed up the next work day. Let's go. Let's go. More driven to go out there to find that criminal and help in that way versus answering the call for a domestic situation. He's going to go out there and hunt. Help the motoring public by all the traffic stops, saving lives by police presence out there, slowing down the awesome Gwinnett drivers that like to drive so fast. He would want us to continue the mission, which I would refer back to with the mission statement and all that. Another thing I like to preach and teach for you new officers that may be here, young officers, because I know there's several of them, the 121, that's y'all. Y'all feel like you're salty now. I get it, because there's an academy class below you. You're not the new guy in roll call. Ms. Gomez took over that position on B rotation. Tamang was happy because he didn't get the cop quizzes. And we have conversations about that and becoming the best cop you can be. So you can be a good cop by demonstrating your knowledge and all that, but a great cop is a smart cop. Know for your safety, the citizen's safety, the proper ways to do our job. So when you do what you got to do, you can say, when the chief calls you in the office and says, "Why did you do this?" "Your policy, sir." And then it wouldn't happen with our chief because he would already squared it away and be like, "Okay, handle it down there." But your policy, sir. And then he has an awkward moment. "Oh, my bad." He's got the power to change the policies and procedures and all that. So for your safety, so that we don't have to sit in here again, please educate yourself. And most importantly, back to you young officers, you come out here and you got that bright, shiny badge upon your chest. You might think you're invincible. You're not. You're not. And if you abuse the power that the state and the citizens have entrusted you with, you only hurt our mission. That's all you do. We have a very, very, very good relationship here in Gwinnett County with our citizens. Because, here, hammer home the point, we care about them. Care about the people you serve. As a supervisor, as a leader, as a police, as a husband, as a son, simply care about what you do and why you do it. Strive for perfection, for if you fall short, you're still in a good place. I guarantee you, you're probably succeeding. And then next time, go and achieve perfection. Strive for it. Will you ever achieve it? No, probably not. But that's how we honor Tamang. go out here and continue doing what he loved to do. And if you want to throw in on your citation, troopers, feel free to do so, not that you need my permission. IHO 2741, that's his badge number. They might start saying that here in the Gwinnett County Recorders, so just so it's out there on some of my citations, because like I say, you've been a good trooper. Thank you again for all your love, support, everything that you've done thus far, that you will continue to do. For me personally, from every Gwinnett County police employee, every Gwinnett County employee, and on behalf of every other brother and sister there is here. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Sergeant Pitts, and I was Officer Tamang's first assigned direct supervisor after he graduated from field training and was released to solo capacity. Afterwards, I was Officer Tamang's supervisor for just about the entirety of his time in patrol, just up until a few days prior to his passing. Once Officer Tamang graduated from field training and was assigned to me, I immediately took a liking to him based on how he carried himself and his background. The three main things which specifically stood out were his sense of humor, which is right up my alley, his way of keeping things in perspective, and his underdog story, as I tend to always root for the underdog. So that's a testament to you, the family, sitting in the front row. You did a job well done in raising Officer Tamang. As we began working together, I would speak with Officer Tamang often. And once you learned his story, you saw he lived a life which was quite inspirational. Officer Tamang told me of his background in which he and his family came to this country as a refugee from Nepal. Thus, it was motivational to see, despite his unideal circumstances and the obstacles facing his upbringing, nothing had been able to stop him, and he was making quite the life for himself. You could also tell early on he was ambitious, dedicated to accomplish anything he set out to desire, and if he wanted something, you couldn't tell him no for an answer. From his educational achievements to him graduating the police academy even after being recycled, and him actively pursuing and planning out his future goals and aspirations, nothing could stop him. You see the American flag draped over his casket. He was, in essence, the definition of the American dream. It was a pleasure to work alongside of Officer Tamang every day, and there was never a boring moment. Officer Tamang and I went to numerous calls together, and just about every call we went to, it was always some sort of action or drama going on, or something where I'd show up and say with a sigh, "Tamang, what'd you get into this time?" It got to a point where we would joke and I would tell Officer Tamang, we can't keep on going on calls together because I couldn't keep up with the excitement and I gotta keep my blood pressure in check. I also remember I was with Officer Tamang when he made one of his, if not his very first arrest, once he was released to solo capacity by himself and when he was on his own. I recall I was sitting back at a little spot where I like to run traffic, and he came down my way to see what I had going on, similar to how a child may come down and peek into the garage to see what their dad may be working on. It was specifically on Centerville Highway to the state troopers, State Route 124. I would also joke, if anyone who's worked with me, I know we got GSP in the house, but we have our own GSP, Gwinnett State Patrol. While we were there, Officer Tamang, he helped me out, and immediately afterwards, he observed a violation, and he immediately went and conducted a traffic stop on a vehicle. During the stop, Officer Tamang recovered a stolen weapon, which we discovered just so happened to be stolen during a vehicle break-in. And once he recovered the weapon, I recall I immediately saw his pupils get big, and something clicked in his head, similar to a bear's first time eating honey, or a dog's first time when they take a bite of a bone. I could see he was hooked, and it was on from that point. He was taking names and not playing any games. He also asked me if it was that easy And I told him, yeah, for the most part, just as long as he puts in a little bit of effort. And from that point on, he did just that. He put in the effort day in and day out, so much to the point where I would often have to rein him in like a puppy on a leash and tell him to sit down somewhere. Come sit down with the big dog, sit down next to me. As I watched Officer Tamang develop, I was very impressed at the pace in which he developed, as he was an incredibly fast learner and picked up on things quickly. Every time Officer Tamang showed up to a call, he also always had something to offer. Although I'd only supervised Officer Tamang for just over half a year, towards the end of my time as a supervisor, it felt as if we had worked together for over half a decade, and you could easily begin to mistake him as a veteran. He also would wear these transitional aviator-style sunglasses at times, which would give him that stereotypical seasoned, crusty officer look that you see on motors sometimes. Officer Tamang was highly intelligent and was always thinking outside the box. He also was very tech-savvy and told me how he built computers on the side as well. As it relates, I recall the first time I conducted Officer Tamang's first vehicle inspection, I saw he installed another monitor to his computer stand, and he had a setup which looked like the interior of a Star Wars ship or the loss prevention office at Walmart with all the screens and monitors. I told Officer Tamang, "What is this, man?" In response, he looked at me with a unique grin on his face, the one you see right there, he always has it, and said, "What?" To add to that, he went down to the Georgia Public Safety Training Center in Forsyth, and he got certified in operating radar, and he had a radar unit installed in his vehicle. And that took things up another level, because the radar device, it emits like this futuristic sound, and it flashes these multicolored Christmas lights. So it reminded me of Michael Knight's car, known as Kit, from the 80s TV show Knight Rider. And I would often hear the Knight Rider theme song playing in my mind whenever I saw Officer Tamang cruising around. So to the family, if you're not familiar, please look it up and you'll see what I'm talking about. As he patrolled on a daily basis, you could also clearly see he had a mindset which was dedicated to selfless service. He had a genuine enthusiasm for the job, which could not be replicated, as he probably would do the job for free. And he had a natural gift and disposition for helping others and solving problems. He had a strong work ethic, nothing ever fazed him, and he was very brave, very brave. He also enjoyed the perks of the job as well, one of which included access to just about unlimited food options. Although he was a slender guy, he was always eating. From pizzas to Chick-fil-A to all sorts of snacks and drinks, he was always eating. The good thing about it, though, was him eating was probably the best way to slow him down and keep him reined in. I remember one weekend we worked, there was a Nepalese soccer tournament and a food event or food festival at Mountain Park Park. And that was the only time I never heard Officer Tamang on the radio, because he was hanging out there and on a 3-day-long food bender. I would also joke that Officer Tamang could probably give the chief a run for his money, as he knew just about everything about the department, more than me, and he probably was one of the department's biggest advocates to the public, bar none, as he was, in essence, a walking billboard for Gwinnett County Police. It is very unfortunate to see how Officer Tamang's life and all he has to offer was taken from the world in an instant, as he was one of one and irreplaceable. You also couldn't want or ask for anything more from a person compared to how Officer Tamang lived his life. Through it all, my greatest condolences go out to Officer Tamang's family, fiance, and loved ones. Although we have never met, I feel as if I probably know a lot about you, because Officer Tamang would often talk about you all to anyone who would listen once he really got to know and speak with him. He would often relate his families to situations he encountered at work, such as during one conversation I recall how he mentioned his younger brother, if I'm not mistaken, previously totaled his new hybrid vehicle. He said he was originally upset about it, but his ability to keep things in perspective kicked in, and he got over it fast because he mentioned it was just a vehicle and something which was replaceable. Officer Tamang also mentioned to me how he planned on getting married soon and talks about the premarital traditions and customs he practiced in his culture. He also mentioned buying a home and the other future financial obligations he was begrudgingly looking forward to. I also remember I was with Officer Tamang one time, and I happened to look at his cell phone, and I saw his fiance as a screenshot in the background. You know, you have to do the double take. I remember looking at his phone, and then looking at him, looking at his phone, and looking at him, and looking at his phone, and looking at him once again. I told him, even though you're squared away, you outkicked your coverage on this one. So you may want to go ahead and lock this one up. He responded stating he surely was. Although Officer Tamang will no longer be able to achieve his desired goals he had in mind or carry out the plans he had for his life, the intended impact and results from his desired goals and plans were still accomplished. The last thing I'll say to Officer Tamang's family is, Officer Tamang's life matters, he is valued, and his life was not sacrificed in vain. Although he was prematurely taken from us, he made an impression on everyone who he came into contact with, which cannot be forgotten. And when it's all said and done, Officer Tamang won and was a winner in the race of life. So that is how he will always be remembered, as a winner. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Officer Melissa Sheridan, and I had the honor and privilege to be in Class 121 with Pradeep. Pradeep had many titles to me. First, he was a fellow pre-recruit, then a classmate. Through literal blood, sweat, and tears, we became colleagues and my brother in blue. But most cherished, Pradeep became my friend. I remember walking into the annex on our first day, and Tamang just beaming with excitement about this journey we agreed to embark on. With his crazy hair and his sideways smirk that always seemed to get him, I should say us, in trouble more than once. 121? Sergeant Bell, Corporal Ricks, Corporal Poole, your words of wisdom to embrace and cherish each other from day one is embedded in each one of us, and we shall continue to support and hold our brothers and sisters up any way that we are called. We thank you three, along with all of the training staff, for pouring everything you had into us and having part into molding us to the men and women that we are today. The first time Tamang got put on his uniform, he couldn't stop smiling and whispering, "Hey Sheridan, we're the police." He was looking forward to continuing his education, so people would have to call him Dr. Officer, sir. Those who know him were very aware of his love of traffic, and he was so happy to be assigned to South and to have a lieutenant that shared his love of radar and pullovers. I loved hearing him brag about snagging such a beautiful, kind soulmate in Asama and how her family welcomed and embraced him as their own. He spoke with so much respect for his parents and brother, for the sacrifices and journey that they went through together that gave him this life that he loved. I believe when you leave this world, we leave behind a reflection of light that represents the people we had in our lives. For Pradeep, his Gwinnett County community, and Nepalese people, you gave him purpose, respect for all walks of life. To his friends, You gave him his humor and his humility. To his brothers and sisters in blue, you gave him conviction and pride. And to his family, we all thank you so much for giving him compassion and love. I trust that no matter what faith, spirituality, or religion that he's in the good place. Give me grace for this. Awahaku barata pernahati hamelasa desurakcho kukuma aling ganama samati rahas. May Pradeep's arms always be wrapped around us under his protection. Thank you.
I would like to invite up some members of Pradeep's family, his cousin Ashok, his cousin Beenam, his brother-in-law Bahadur, and his fiancée Ingsangnama. Would you please come up?
Hello everyone, my name is Ingsama, and I want to thank you all for being here today to honor Pradeep. Seeing the community show up for him during this time means a lot, and I know it would have meant so much to him as well. Pradeep truly loved being a police officer. He would come home from work and immediately tell me about his day, what he experienced, what he learned, and the people he helped. Since he was an introvert, he had a goal to become more extroverted and mentioned that being an officer helped him grow to be more outgoing and confident. He had expressed his gratitude towards his precinct and department. I'm thankful that his career helped him grow in so many ways. Pradeep was a loving and caring partner who was always there for me. It was a privilege to love and know him all these years. He came into my life and made it so much better. Knowing Pradeep, he would be so happy to see his legacy being celebrated and respected today. He's being honored in the way he truly deserves, and I hope his legacy lives on, continuing to inspire and give courage to everyone, especially law enforcement officers. I hope he's at peace now, free from stress, and truly happy. Thank you all.
Firstly, I'd like to thank all of you for showing up and being here. I express my sincerest gratitude to see not just family, but the entire community of Gwinnett County over here. I'd just like to say that my name is Beenam Tamang. I was Pradeep's younger cousin. He was 4 years my senior. I'd just like to share a bit about the relationship between me and him and who he was to me. Although he was my cousin, I looked up to him more like a brother, so from now on, I will refer to him as Pradeep Dada, the honorific in our culture for those who are older. Not only was he my cousin, he was the son of my aunt. He was also that one guy at family gatherings I'd see, the one who would always walk up to me, to my younger siblings, to anyone just around, and he would force them to engage in activities. He was a very kind and compassionate person. Whenever he saw anything or anyone out of place, he'd always step up to make sure they were included. In my memories, I often remember him coming back home from school or work or whatever that day. He'd walk up to me and he'd go, "You, let's go get Chick-fil-A." It was either that or he'd pack me, his younger brother again, and whoever was around that day, we'd all cram into his car, we'd go for a walk, metro parks, or just find any activity to do that day. He'd also be a confidant, someone that I would confide in and share my personal life goals and aspirations. He'd often be doting to the point of annoyance. We'd speak on life goals and plans. He'd always ask me about school, my hobbies and interests, girls, the casual older brother stuff. But he'd always speak with genuine care and interest, and I'd always shy away from it because I was the younger brother. I'd always wanted to seem cool and rebellious. But that was our relationship. Bali Dada would be the older brother always looking out, whether it was a stern and stoic lecture, a simple joke at your expense, or a passing moment with that smirk right there. And me, the younger brother, would always just brush it off and say, "Dada, I don't care." But now that he's no longer with us, those moments, ignoring his words, that's a regret that I'll carry for a while. Because now he's no longer here to have those conversations, especially when I need his guidance the most now. Like I said, I would remember often going out and just getting simple foods and whatnot. One summer, I spent 2 months with him and his family, and during the whole time, he'd be the one always looking out for me, always saying, "Hey, what do you want to do today? What are we doing today? How are you feeling?" He was also the one that introduced me to my passion of technology and engineering. My cousin was a man who rarely threw anything out, whether it be the Amazon boxes his new PC parts came in, or the old PC parts themselves. I remember that summer, walking in and seeing his setup in his room, and he'd point out each and every single thing. He'd be like, "I have new RAM sticks, I have a new CPU, new coolers," and he'd often give me some of the old stuff he'd had for free, and that's where my love for technology came. But now that compassionate soul is gone, and the more I dwell on it, the more unfair it feels. I feel as if my whole family and I were robbed that Sunday, February 1st. I grieve and mourn the life of my brother, of my dada, but I feel another level of hurt when I realize just what was taken from us. Never again will I hear that voice. Never again can I share my goals and aspirations with him, my accomplishments, what he inspired me to do. Never again will his mother hold her child. Never again can his father stare at his son with pride. Never again can his brother confide in him. Never will I be able to see my brother grow old. Never will I be at his wedding. Never will he introduce to me his children. He was only 25, and his life had just begun. He had so much life to live, so much love to be shared, and so much wisdom to impart. And never again will those things happen. An infinite wealth of memories and treasured moments stolen from us. And although there's a deep sorrow and anguish within me, I know that Pradeep Dada wouldn't want me or anyone else to dwell on it forever. He was a man of action and conviction, always moving on ahead to forge his own path. The stories I've heard of his tenacity and dedication to protect and serve and complete his duty are inspiring. What challenges and hardships he must have faced just to get there. And I'd just like to say, although yes, we may never see him again, never hear him, never share a drink or laugh again, I still believe that my older brother, Pradeep, is alive. Because a man truly dies when he is forgotten. And when I stand here and see all the faces and people, all the eyes on me, I can say for certain that my brother is still alive in our memories. And in my heart, he will forever be immortal. Thank you.
Hi. My name's Alina. I'm going to be reading my brother's speech, Officer Tamang's. Before I read this, I want to say that Pradeep Dada treated me like his own little sister. I'm gonna try to be brave and talk about him. Before he came here, we were so close. I was planning to come here March, and he was excited to show me around. His memories will always live with me, and I'll always think about him. He was like my own brother. I'm gonna start the speech that my brother wrote. I am deeply saddened by the tragic incident. Thank you all for gathering here today to honor Police Officer Pradeep. Your presence means a great deal to our family during this difficult time. He was our brother. He is our brother, and he will always remain our brother. We never expected, nor did we ever want this day to come. It has been incredibly difficult to accept his passing. Even now, it is hard to believe that he is no longer here with us. In many ways, it still feels as though he has not truly left this world. He was the pride and joy of my uncle and aunt. Pradeep was a man of integrity, compassion, and strong responsibility. He carried himself with honor, both in his personal life and in his service as a police officer. Whenever he visited us, he would share his experiences from his work, stories that reflected his dedication and commitment to serving others. I have known him since childhood. We grew up together. I will always remember how he played with our cousins, running, laughing, and bringing warmth and happiness to those around him.
Those memories will remain with us forever. He will always live on in our hearts. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. I, on behalf of my sister, would like to thank all the government officials, the blue suits, for honoring my brother-in-law. From the family member, we are very grateful. I would like to step back and take back a little bit further behind how we came to this country. Almost 20 years back, we were living as refugees in Nepal, and we are from Bhutan. We are from Bhutan and lived in refugee camp in Nepal for almost 2 decades, and finally, US government thought that we are worthy enough to be resettled, and here we are, we came to this country almost 18 years ago. In this 18 years of span of time, I think our community have been actively engaged in all field of military services, including the military services. This country have opened the doors for us and given us hope. And the hope has turned people to serve also. In the line of duty, my brother-in-law, Mr. Pradeep Tamang, has fallen, but it was in the line of duty and it was known anything could come in front once you are in the dress. He was young, indeed, but we are proud as a community that he has served the community well. He has kept the promise of what he has promised to do. And we as a community, we are proud that our young kids, fellow community people, are engaged in the community services as much as we can. From the family members, we would like to thank again, once again, Gwinnett County Police Department, the county officials, and the community people who has poured in the support for the families in times of need. We look forward to engage and help each other in whatever we can. May my brother-in-law's soul rest in peace and give courage to people in uniforms to keep on serving and keeping the community as safe as possible. We cannot expect 100%, but as safe as possible. May his soul rest in peace, give us encouragement to keep on serving our community. Thank you very much.
At this time, I'd like to invite Gwinnett County Police Department Chief J.D. McClure to the stage.
Good morning. I want to extend my sincerest appreciation for the outpouring of support from across the country and express my gratitude to those who have taken the time to honor our fallen brother today. U.S. Attorney Theodore Hertzberg, Governor Brian Kemp, and First Lady Marty. There are numerous state representatives here, but as far as federal law enforcement, I want to thank DEA Atlanta, the U.S. Secret Service, FBI Atlanta, the Georgia Bureau of Investigations, the Georgia State Patrol, Gwinnett County Chairwoman Nicole Love Henderson, and our district commissioners, as well as County Administrator Glenn Stevens, the Gwinnett County Sheriff's Office, the Gwinnett County District Attorney's Office, the Lawrenceville Police Department, and many others. It is with a heavy heart that I stand before you this morning. So often during my tenure as Chief of Police, I had one prayer, some days silent, some days out loud, but my prayer was that I never lose an officer in the line of duty. And this is a prayer that's all too familiar to chiefs around the country. This is a day that no chief or fellow officer welcomes, and one that no family should ever have to endure. Words aren't sufficient for this moment. And I want to make a correction here. So I grew up in Georgia. Lieutenant McClendon grew up in Georgia. So as we see Tamang's name, our first instinct is Tamang, right? So you're going to hear me refer to him as Tamang. So I've worked hard to get the correct pronunciation. But if I go back to Tamang, please forgive me. To the Tamang family, please know that your son, fiance, brother is held in the highest regard and will live on in our memories always. He gave everything for this job and for this community, and we are forever grateful. Even in this dark time, the very mention of Officer Pradeep Tamang, his name pierces the shadow that's over us today. We remember his light, like the eternal flame that he watched over as a guardian and as a brother. Every officer who pins on this badge represents the shield of defense. And that polished badge reflects the light of hope back out into the community that we serve. When we meet darkness head on, when we run toward the danger we shield others from, we carry the torch of peace. Who will go for us? That's the call every officer in here hears. Send me is the answer that we give each day. It's the answer Officer Tamang gave. Even though he isn't standing with us here today, that light he fought to protect still shines. It can never be extinguished. It will not be distinguished. Pradeep Tamang, badge 2741, bravely answered the call. We were proud to have his experience, a master's degree from the University of Akron and from his time working in corrections. But we're also deeply proud of his journey that his family so proudly talked about. Pradeep came to this country from Nepal more than 16 years ago, embodying the best of the American spirit. Here was an officer eager to learn, passionate about his work, driven by purpose. So many remember his quirky smile, his infectious energy, and both of those made him a joy to work around. One of my good friends and our Southside Precinct Commander, Major Matt Brookins, described Tamang as, and I quote, the epitome of everything you want in an officer. And Officer Tamang exemplified this work ethic on every call. Just last month, a Snellville mother faced one of the hardest moments of her life. Her 11-year-old autistic son was in the grip of a mental health crisis, leading to hospitalization. She wrote to tell us Officer Tamang arrived on scene, showed patience, compassion, humanity, and care, exploring every option to help her family. That is the heart behind the badge. That is the man we lost. He was a hard worker, a genuinely good person, and will always be our brother. And that brotherhood runs deep. Look no further than Master Police Officer David Reed, badge 1802, who was with Officer Tamang that morning. Now, I want to preface my next comment by saying I've been in law enforcement for a long time, 32 years. I saw combat in the Marine Corps. I spent 12 years on the Department SWAT team. And in all that time, the actions of Officer Reed on Sunday are the most courageous that I've ever witnessed. Even through his sustained injuries, he continued to fight. Reed improvised, he adapted, he overcame. He subdued the suspect and held that position, preventing an assault on the other responding officers. I'm thankful we made the arrest and justice will be served. Officer Reed remains in our prayers as he recovers from his injuries, and we will continue to rally around him. Maya Angelou, famous poet, once wrote that courage is the most important of all virtues, because without courage, you cannot practice any other virtue consistently. You can practice any virtue erratically, but nothing consistent without courage. Officer Tamang and Officer Reed showed us real heroism, the courage it takes to bring your best to every situation, even those that can turn in an instant. I also want to recognize the officers of South Precinct's B cycle who demonstrated remarkable courage and bravery, entering the room to rescue their brothers without knowing what waited for them. Such is the heroic spirit of the individuals of the Gwinnett County Police Department. It's the kind of spirit that drew Officer Tamang to our ranks. Pradeep was a graduate of the 121st Police Academy, whose members are sitting here today. 121, let him serve as a strong example for everything that you do. Your brother did not die in vain. He died protecting this community. He died living out the oath that he swore. Remember him by being the officers he believed that you could be, to connect, to serve, to safeguard our community. That goes for every law enforcement officer here today. Let's honor Officer Tamang by continuing to answer the call that we all hear, because if not us, then who? I sincerely thank every single one of you for doing more than just showing up. You safeguard this county, you safeguard this country. We're fortunate and honored to work in a community for peace. Even amid some of the worst situations, we show the best in humanity. I am humbled by the outpouring of public support that we've seen, heard, and felt this past week. I'm grateful. We're grateful. We will continue to provide professional law enforcement services that our county deserves. And we honor our fallen officers' memory by raising the standard. We will show the nation what professional, compassionate policing looks like while supporting those who don the uniform and badge. And so I would like to next segue momentarily and highlight several awards that will be posthumously bestowed upon Officer Tamang, and those are as follows. First, the Medal of Valor. It's the police department's highest award. This is awarded only at the discretion of the Chief of Police, upon recommendation that the employee has performed a conspicuous act of gallantry or heroism while risking life or serious injury above and beyond the call of duty. Such acts must be performed in extremely hazardous or dangerous conditions. The Purple Heart reads in part, this is awarded only at the discretion of the Chief of Police for injuries sustained while performing heroic or extraordinary official acts in the line of duty. And finally, Honorable Service. This is awarded to those employees who have long and honorable service in the law enforcement profession for a minimum of 10 years, including military police and prior civilian law enforcement service. Please note, this may also be awarded at the discretion of the Chief of Police. This is a hard day. I know any of us would rather be dispatched to any call than be faced with mourning our fallen brother. But I take comfort knowing that Pradeep Tamang lived his life to answer a higher calling. I take pride knowing he chose the Gwinnett County Police Department to serve and make change in our world. Filled with sadness, we send him off with valor, with honor, and gratitude. He was a guardian, he was a warrior, he was our brother, and he will never be forgotten. Thank you.
At this time, I'd like to invite us for a moment of silence. And really, this is just a sacred pause to honor Officer Tamang, to remember his service, to lift up his family members and his friends, and for you to reflect. So let's take this moment.
From the mountains of Nepal, you crossed the wide blue sea. A young heart full of fire, chasing dreams of liberty. 10 years on foreign soil, you built a life anew. Then pinned that badge with pride, said I'll stand for what's true. Just a boy of 25, fresh from the academy line, but you wore the blue like armor, gave your all every time. Oh, Pradeep, my fallen brother, you answered the call that day to a hotel room of shadows where evil chose its way. Unprovoked, the bullets flew, stole your breath away, but your light still shines eternal in the hearts that couldn't break. You were someone's son, someone's love, soon to be a groom. Now heaven holds you closer beneath the eternal moon. Rest easy, hero, rest easy, we carry on for you. Routine call turned to chaos, fraud and lies turned red. You and David stood together, no fear inside your head. You faced the storm unflinching, protected those you'd sworn. A promise kept in silence in the early Sunday morn. Engaged to your beloved, plans for a wedding day, but duty called you forward and you never turned away. Oh, Pradeep, our guardian angel, with your gentle warrior soul, you left us far too early, left a gaping, aching hole. From the Nepal to Georgia streets, you bridged two worlds with grace, gave your last full measure in that unforgiving place. Your fiancé weeps in silence, your family holds you near, but your badge burns bright forever through every falling tear. Rest easy, hero, rest easy, your watch is over now. We see you in the sunrise, in the badge upon our chest. In every act of kindness, you gave your very best. Though the pain is endless and the nights feel cold and long, your courage echoes onward in the right where you belong. No fraud, no hate, no bullet condemn the light you gave. You live in every heartbeat of the free and the brave. Oh, Pradeep, sweet Pradeep, we honor you tonight. A son of Nepal's mountains, our eternal guiding light. You were only 25, but your legacy is vast. A hero taken from us, but your spirit holds steadfast. To your family, to your fiancé, to your brothers in the blue, we promise we'll remember, we'll carry this for you. Rest easy, our brother, rest easy, until we meet again. In the blue beyond the pain. Shield of light. Forever. Officer Tamang. We love you.
At this time, Gwinnett County Police will render honors.
Radio to badge 2741. Radio to badge 2741. Radio to badge 2741. Officer Pradeep Tamang. Attention all units. Gwinnett County Police Officer Tamang, badge 2741, will be 1042 for the remainder. Officer Tamang was fatally wounded in the line of duty on February the 1st. Officer Tamang, we honor you for your ultimate sacrifice, and we thank you for your service to the Gwinnett County Police Department and to the citizens of Gwinnett County. You will always be remembered for the kindness that you showed to everyone you came into contact with. We appreciate your willingness to serve and protect the citizens of Gwinnett County. You made the choice to take the oath, put on the uniform, don the badge, and stand between good and evil, and for that, we will be forever grateful. Gone but never forgotten, badge 2741, we will take the watch from here. Officer Pradeep Tamang, end of watch, Sunday, February the 1st, 2026.
Honor guard, order, arms. Honor guard, parade, wrist. Honor guard, attention! Present arms. Honor guard, order, arms. Honor guard.